Hello and welcome to our flip video lesson, Relationships and Rulers, lesson 6.02. Our lesson 6.02 details your Human Odyssey reading pages 164 to 167, your student guide workbook pages 166 to 172, your OMS assignment is assessment 6.02, and about the topic, Confucius and his influence on Chinese society. So our learning objectives, describe the 5 relationships described in Confucian philosophy and explain their importance in a good society, explain why Confucianism is a philosophy and not a religion, identify the Analects of Confucius, and identify the Golden Rule and its earliest known teacher. Lesson Introduction, Relationships and Rulers. Historians know that economic and political conditions influence people and events. Confucius lived in a time of chaos. Although the Zhou dynasty officially ruled China, the real power belonged to individual feudal lords who fought among themselves and with neighboring peoples for territory and for wealth. Confucius was one of the scholars who tried to help restore order and return it to enlightened rulers. He did not speak on beliefs or in gods, rather on human behavior. His teachings became the basis of a great philosophy, Confucianism, and still exerts great influence today. Your student guide questions. So turn to page 170 in your student guide. And if you'll take a look, there's a chart there and it says Confucius' 5 relationships. So it's important that you do have your reading completed for this lesson, which explains more on these 5 relationships. But he basically notes that there are 5 different kinds of relationships among people, and he said there was a proper way to behave in each. So if you take a look at this, you can think about it, ones that apply to you. Obviously, between a husband and wife, that's not you yet, you're not married. But maybe you could compare something in your family life between a parent and a child, between an elder brother and a younger brother or sister. So between, if you have older siblings or if you're the oldest, if you have younger siblings. Between a ruler and a subject. So if you think about a ruler, you can think about government as far as maybe our president or a mayor. Or you can even think about something as far as school, your learning coach or your teacher. And then subject means not subject like you would learn in school, but a subject means someone underneath that ruler. And then between friends, so that one may apply most to you. So think about the different relationships and how you interact with those people as you're reading through this section of your reading in your book. And then question number 2 on your student guide. On page 171, what was Confucius's golden rule? It was, do not do to others what you do not want them to do to you. Question number 3 asks, how did Confucius describe a wise man? How did he describe a good man? So Confucius described a wise man as one who knows and understands others, and a good man as one who loves others. Question number 4, how do Confucian teachings differ from religious ideas? Remember, we talked about that on the introduction, that Confucius didn't really talk so much about beliefs in different gods as he did more in philosophical views. So do not do to others what you do not want them to do to you. So sometimes we talk about Confucianism as a religion, and then sometimes we talk about it as just a philosophical view or a philosophical way of life. Question number 5, what did Confucius think the way of heaven was? Confucius believed that the way of heaven was the great spirit of wisdom and goodness that prompted people to consider the needs of others. And if you need more time to fill in your student guide, you can always pause this video. Questions number 6 and 7. What is the Analects of Confucius? And then who wrote the Analects of Confucius? So for question number 6, the Analects of Confucius is a book that contains the sayings of Confucius. And then for question number 7, who wrote the Analects of Confucius? Students who studied under Confucius wrote down what they remembered from their conversations with their teacher. Those students became teachers and continued teaching Confucius's ideas. Their students also wrote down what they learned. This process continued for several generations, and the collected writings became known as the Analects of Confucius. Question number 8. Describe why Confucius believed the 5 relationships were important to a good society. So this goes back to that question number 1, the 5 relationships that we were talking about. So Confucius believed that a successful society depended on people taking their proper roles in each of the 5 relationships. So if people earned the respect of others and in turn were respectful towards others, a peaceful and harmonious society would result. And this is just a quick note, that's one of our class rules, is respect yourself and respect others. And then this is question number 9. Think about it. Does the Confucian idea of 5 relationships apply to us today? So you may note that the relationship between husbands and wives has changed as women have gained legal and social equality. You may also note that the respect accorded government leaders today is different because the people and the leaders are considered equals. So while Confucian ideas differ as far as that hierarchy goes, like we've talked about before, that kind of triangle where there's some up here and some down here, so that's kind of evened out a bit. But a lot of the laws and policies that Confucius discussed play an important role in society even today. Make sure that you do have your reading pages complete, as I talked about earlier, pages 164 to 167 in your Human Odyssey reading book. Some important vocabulary words to understand. Analects is a collection of short literary or philosophical extracts written by Confucius. Confucius's golden rule: do not impose on others what you do not wish for yourself. Ancestors, person who is in someone's family in past times, one of the people from whom a person is descended. And then morals are a person's standards of behavior or beliefs concerning what is and is not acceptable for them to do. And here we come to our quote section. Fittingly enough, I chose Confucius. Looking at small advantages prevents great affairs from being accomplished. Thank you so much for joining me today. Motivation is what gets us started. Habit is what keeps us going. Have a great day.